We also need to be very intentional about types of opportunities that we afford children, so providing them opportunities for play, for drawing and other expressive therapies that we know are important for adjusting to stressful events. Many of the children will actually be experiencing challenges in terms of their normal self-regulation, so it might be about providing scaffolded experiences. We also know that some of the stress that children have experienced comes from a lack of control. So it's being very intentional about providing children choices in our environment. And I think the most important thing is to think that for many children, their early childhood service will be the only sense of normalcy that they have in their life. So it's going back to a normal routine. We find children take great comfort from the familiar. So it's making sure that they have an understanding of their expectations and providing them with activities that are supportive and reassuring. As adults and educators of young children, we've got a real responsibility of trying to minimise re-exposure, because it can really result in a cumulative stress effect for young children where we see heightened anxiety and stress-related behaviours. And when we're thinking about young children, probably the two main ways that they can be re-exposed is through listening into adult conversations where they're debriefing about event, and another way is through vicarious exposure through media. And so what we really want to do is minimise children's exposure to both of these things. But as educators, we really need to be cognisant not of only what's happening now, but our future events. And so that's really around planning for what you're going to do at anniversary time. So if we're looking at the current bushfires, we know that the anniversary is going to come around Christmas time, where children may see Christmas now as something that is actually not a time to embrace, but a scary time. So it's around thinking about how you're going to approach that in a way that minimises that re-exposure and the conversations that you're going to have. So it may not be surprising to see heightened stress-related behaviours at that time as you did straight after the event. You also really need to think about the exposure to media, because young children are particularly vulnerable because it is very difficult for them to differentiate between the actual event and the replaying of event, which means for them this is a whole new set of bushfires, and they're going to see again that perception that all of Australia is on fire. So it's around checking their understanding and supporting them in very much the same way as when it happened just after the event. So when we talk about quality education and care, we really talk about the importance of differentiated curriculum and really responding to the individual needs of children. And when it comes to children's stress-related responses, there's such huge variability in the way that the children respond, and in turn there's variability in how we can best support children. So some children may be particularly anxious, so they actually just need time with you. They might need physical comfort, or they might need one-on-one interactions. Other children actually might need a lot of information. So they might want books read to them, or they might actually want to look on the internet and look at other information around the fires. So it's about checking children's understanding, connecting with families and have an understanding of what's happening outside the early childhood service for that child, and making sure that you provide pretty strong connections across contexts in supporting the way that children cope with these events.